All right, this is your 2025 Green Bay Packers NFL season prediction. Green Bay Packers take on the Detroit Lions in Green Bay, and the Packers take the dub here because they're not happy with the last game against the Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football, where it was the Packers versus the Lions and the refs. Next week after that, the Packers take on the Washington Commies in Green Bay. Packers take the dub there. Dan Quinn is not all that great, and Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump, unfortunately. Then the Packers travel out to Cleveland and take on the Brownies. Packers take the dub there. Cleveland Brownies are still trying to figure out who their quarterback is. Then the Packers travel out to Dallas and take on the Dallas Cowgirls. That's a dub there because the Packers always beat the Cowgirls in Jerryland. Then the Packers get a bye week. They're well rested. Then they take on the Cincinnati Bengals at home. And they win against the Joe Burrow Bengals. Then the Packers travel out to Arizona to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. The Packers take the dub there. Packers then travel out to Pittsburgh to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the first loss of the season. Then the Packers go back home and take on the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young is getting better, but the Packers take the dub there. Then the Packers are staying at home. They're not traveling anywhere, and they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Packers are not happy with the outcome of the first game against the Eagles in Brazil, and they're not happy with the outcome of the Eagles in the playoffs of last season. So the Packers are going to stop the push-tush and take the dub here. Then the Packers take on the New York Little Giants in New York. That's a dub there. Then the Packers take on the Vikings at home. Minnesota Vikings at home, that's a dub there for the Packers. Then the Packers travel out to Detroit and take on the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. That's the second loss of the season, unfortunately. Then the Packers have a bear sandwich, okay? They go up against the Bears at home. That's a dub. Then the Packers travel out to Denver to take on the Broncos. Even though the Broncos are starting to become a playoff contender, all of a sudden they made it to the playoffs last season. That's a dub for the Packers. Then the Packers travel out to Chicago to reclaim their wins against Chicago. That's a dub for the Packers. Then the Packers take on the Ravens at home. That's a loss, unfortunately, because it's a game that wouldn't matter at that point. Then the Packers take on the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. That's a loss. Vikings are still trying to climb their way into the playoff position, but the Packers reclaim the North. They make it to the playoffs, and they are 13-4 in the season.